So, good day, ma'am. I am Jakim Luaranya, and I'm here to report about the Egyptian art. Summary: Ancient Egyptian art refers to art produced in ancient Egypt between the 31st century BC and the 4th century Anno Domini. It includes paintings, sculptures, drawings on papyrus, faience, jewelry, ivories, architecture, and other art media. It is also conservative. The art style changed very little over time. Much of the surviving art comes from the tombs and monuments, giving more insight into the ancient Egyptians' afterlife beliefs. The ancient Egyptians' language had no word for art. Artworks served an essentially functional purpose that was bound with religion and ideology. To render a subject in art was to give it permanence. Hence, ancient Egyptians are portrayed and idealized unrealistic view of the world. There were no significant tradition of individual artistic expression since art served a wider and cosmic purpose of maintaining order. So as we can see, um, ancient Egyptians were not really bound to do art. So instead, Egyptians has made those drawings, sculptures, or paintings, or anything that we called as an art, and order them for um, showing the respect for the gods, the ideology of the religions, and many more. It also significant to what an Egyptian is. Features. Primary features of Egyptian art. A major contributor to late Neolithic art. Egyptian cultures is probably the best known form of ancient art in the Mediterranean basin. Before the advent of Greek civilization, 600 before Christ exists or BCE, ancient Egyptian architecture, for example, is world famous for the extraordinary Egyptian pyramids, while other features unique to the art of ancient Egypt include its writing scripted based on pictures and symbols, hiero, hierogl- hi- hieroglyphics, and its meticulous hieratic style of painting and stone carving. So as we can see in the picture, they have no um, literally have alphabets to write, but instead they made their languages through showing pictures of what they are doing and anything. Timeline. Early dynastic period art of Egyptian. Art represents through images of animals, human beings, and supernatural figures inscribed on rock walls. Though these early images were crude in comparison to later developments, but still express an important value of Egyptian culture consciousness, the balance. So it means that in early dynastic period of Egyptian art, the art on Egypt shows of what of shows the art through images of animals, human beings, and supernatural figures, as we can see on that features on the um, image on that features that we saw. Next, the Old Kingdom art. This skill was developed during the Old Kingdom of Egypt, 200, 2613 to 200, 2000 to 2181 before Christ exists, when a strong central government and economic prosperity combined to allow for monumental works like the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Sphinx, and elaborate tomb and temple paintings. The obelisk for developed in the early dynasty period was refined and more widely used during the Old Kingdom. Tomb painting became increasingly sophisticated, but statuary remained static for the most part. So in the Old Art Kingdom, when the time that the the government or the economic prosperity allows to make a monumental like the Great Pyramid of Giza on the for honoring their great Peru on their times. Just like the Great Pyramid of Giza and the Sphinx, it is made it is made to to present their respect and their great gratitude towards their Peru. Next is the later periods and legacy. The skills acquired would continue to the third intermediate period of Egypt, 1069 to 525 before Christ exists, and late period 525 and 332 before Christ exists, which are also negatively compared with the gender eras of a strong central government. The style of these later periods was affected by the time and the limited resources, but art is still of considerable quality. So at this time or this period, Egypts were able to make arts for some reasons, but because of the limited resources, they aren't or they can't make a lot about it. But still, the art is considered as considerable quality. So Egyptian artist. So ma'am, I couldn't find an old artist of the history of Egypt because most of the arts and like the sculptures or the paintings were made by anonymous people and I could not find it. So I'm presenting most of the famous artists present today. First is Hazem Taha Hussein, born in Giza, Egypt in 1961. Hazem Taha Hussein has exhibited his paintings across the world, including Germany, Cuba, France, Dubai, Sweden, and Egypt. His paintings are as diverse as the inspiration they are drawn from. There is no other artist who can so seemingly bring together the iconography of American graffiti, Egyptian hieroglyphics, and Arabic texts. His solo show, The Mirage of Al-Barai Art Gallery, Bahrain, consisted of hunting images overlaid by an Islamic creed. The images simultaneously appear transient while fixed solidly in a labyrinth of space. So as you can see, Hazim Tao Zian drawn this picture that you can see here. This is composed of the three known style of painting, which is the American graffiti, Egyptian hieroglyphics, and Arabic text. Next is Khalid Hafez. Khalid Hafez has been exploring the dichotomies of popular culture through the mediums of video and paintings for over 20 years. Growing up in Egypt during a period of continuous political and cultural change, the transformation of what it means to be from the East is a theme that runs through much of his art. His works depict striking juxtaposition of traditional and contemporary iconography, making pairings that intrigue and delight. So as you can see, his painting is over here. Most likely, it is also based on the Egyptian art on the historic period. Next is Tariq El-Komi. Tariq El-Komi's sculptures are imposing and haunting with edges impossibly smooth and lines declaratively drawn. There is a clear harkening back to the Egyptian pharaonic identity. His figures are clear suggestions of the harmonious forms of ancient Egypt. Walking around a display of his sculptures with artfully falling light gathering up shadows behind each figure, silence is necessary as the figures appears to demand it. Egyptian artistic heritage has developed with the times, but its integrity and resonance has not wavered. A selection of his works can be found in the Museum of Modern Egyptian Art, Cairo. So we can see his art here, showing a girl, and his paintings is more of an abstract made or abstract inspired, but still an Egyptian art. Here are the example of Egyptians paintings over the history, showing a pharaoh and a lady and some of other Egyptian, showing their cultures. Next is Egyptian sculptures. As we can see, these sculptures were made or inspired by the face of their pharaohs before time. This is this first picture shows the pharaoh, and the second also the pharaohs who have been born on the past. Next is Egyptian architectures. So this picture shows the Great Pyramid of Giza and the ruins of Egypt. I guess this shows also their architectures that they have made. Next is Egyptian dance music. I couldn't find any traditional music of their own, but this is the best picture to show their traditional dances and what their music will be look like. Showing a girl playing I guess it's an old harp, or I'm not sure, and a girl dancing. Next is Egyptian literature. So as I tackled lately, that there are no particularly alphabets of their times. Instead, their alphabets were made or shows what we can see. The first picture shows the shows that their their method of showing their languages or learning is through the drawing and carving of in the stones. So that's it. That ends my report, ma'am. Thank you. Stay safe, and God bless.